What's going on? Everybody, you guys hear me okay? Somebody could type in the chat. I would appreciate it. I know there's a little bit of delay here, so hopefully you guys can hear me all right. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just start. I know that I think I have the DVR setting enabled, so if anybody joins late, they can go back and watch. But I just, I've seen some interesting stuff in the charts. I just wanted to go over it real briefly. And if there's any alts or any other charts that anybody here wants to look at, feel free to put it in the chat here so I can see it. And then happy to go over it. But I guess we'll start off with Bitcoin. So you can see we got we obviously we got our move up here, and I'll just delete this so you can see the whole piece here. But we've basically been ranging. We've been going sideways since this morning. Got a really nice move up. Obviously, we got some pretty bullish news today. Tesla's bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. But going back to I want to just touch real briefly on the last video that I did and what I was looking for. So you can see here that we got the confirmation of our bullish TK cross on the 12-hour chart, which told me, like, what that tells me is essentially to look for longs. And like, as far as potential downside goes, it's less relevant to me when I see this setup play out. And I went through in the video, I'm not going to go through it over again, but I went through it in the video explaining, like, historically what happens when you get these kinds of moves. So you can see that price, this is the 12-hour chart. So again, we got our move up and price retraced a bit. You actually right here got your bearish TK cross. Price dipped in the cloud. I'd say, this is a pretty decent test of the bottom of the cloud here. And then we got our move up. And what happened was right here, you got your bullish TK cross above cloud, and everything else was bullish. So your cloud is bullish. Your cloud's been bullish ever since all the way back in October here. Your cloud's been bullish. And by the way, this is an entry right here, and you could have rode it the entire way up. You look at your 12-hour Kijun, like, phenomenal support. These were excellent buys at the time, and you could have ridden this trend the entire way up. So that's also, like, what I really like about Ichimoku. If you use this system and you understand how it works and you stick to it, like, a lot of times you can enter in kind of when you have major trend reversals like this. And if you follow the system strictly and you're trading on a higher time frame like this, you would have bought, way back here at 11,000, which I don't know if you remember, but I was incredibly bullish. Once we cleared 11.3, this was my reason why I was really bullish. And if you go back to when I was posting about it back then, 11.3 was a major level, and I had shared that when you get, and this was on the daily time frame, when we got the bullish TK cross above cloud at 11.3, like, that was a massive signal for me to go long and, like, to look for longs, no more downside. And so again, this is what we're seeing here on a bit of a, I don't want to say it's a smaller scale, it's still a 12-hour, but this is a really powerful signal. So when I see something like this happen, you get a really nice move up, you cleared all-time highs, I'm looking for up. And I'm not, could we retrace? 100%. Like, anything can happen in trading, anything at all can happen, but historically, when you have trade setups like this, this is the time to look for longs. So now if you go down on lower time frames, so like your 5 minute here, you pull a, like you can see, like we basically, so you got your impulse up and we've just been consolidating. We're basically forming a mini range here. So what I like to do is pull my fixed range tool, and you can see that price broke your range point of control right here. We got a bearish, and this is, I mean, this is a 5 minute, so you know it's a lot of things can happen on a 5 minute time frame, but this tells you here you got a bearish TK cross. Look for, you know, on the 5 minute you could have a bit of a dip, which we got. Price broke into cloud, and you can see price regained the Tenkin here and bounced right along the Tenkin, came back up to the 5 minute Kijun. This was your initial resistance here, and then you got the impulse out of it. So, and then you can see after that we are actually back testing. So you broke your range point of control, and then you back tested your point of control, and you've been doing that for the, you know, but that was what, about 30 minutes, and then you got to move up. So the challenge here is, which by the way, I am going to go, the main reason for the stream was actually Ethereum. I do want to go over the ETH BTC chart in just a minute, but to kind of wrap up my thoughts, you know, forming a range here, totally fine. If price was to come back down to, you know, high 42, wouldn't be a big deal to me. You know, even if we came back to retest, so this key level is actually our, that's our prior all-time high. So if you had price come back and actually retest this level, which is lining up really nicely with the 5 minute cloud right now, again, it wouldn't be a big deal to me at all. So like, I'm not stressed out, worried about Bitcoin going to zero or anything crazy like that. But you can see right here, so to kind of go off of the charts that the 12-hour chart I showed you, you actually got another bullish TK cross above cloud. So this is on the 5 minute, obviously. So that's you don't expect any miracles off of that, but that does tell you even on the 5 minute time frame right now, it's bullish. So you have your Chiku span, it's above price, you're above the range point of control, you're actually above value area high right now, and you can see price is moving up. But you're above value area high of your range, your cloud's bullish, everything about the 5 minute is bullish right now, which it wasn't technically, you know, back here, you know, an hour or two ago. So right now, if I was to take a guess, like I would not be surprised if we get another move up to try to push what our current all-time high is. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw 50K this week. I think like a move up, you know, we took out 42K. Things look pretty good. The only thing that is kind of, let me actually go to my other screen. So this isn't like a major deal, and it's expected when you have really powerful moves like this, but the funding rate's pretty up there. And that's kind of one of the only things that makes me think we could actually consolidate or even dip. You know, again, I wouldn't be too surprised if we kind of came back down to the low of this mini range here that we're forming. In case you're wondering, like for me, you know, I like my ranges, but I mean, you see if there's like something on a 15 minute, maybe I would maybe draw it like this right now, something like that. So I wouldn't be too surprised, you know, if, so we're at the top of the range, you know, if we kind of just play a little bit more sideways, but the funding rate's kind of the only thing right now that I look at and say, wow, like that's kind of up there. It's pretty, like that in itself is bearish, but again, with the type of move that we've seen, it's not surprising. And if you're, you know, especially if Bitcoin breaks out of this range and takes another impulse up, like if you're long, the funding rate is such a minimal concern to you, because like Bitcoin, like, you know, as far as the move up is going to way outpace what funding you would even be worrying about paying. So it's not that big of a deal, but it is something to think about. So does anybody have any questions about Bitcoin before I move on? give it just a little bit, but I'm gonna move on to ETH BTC, and then after that, it's, you know, if anybody has any questions about other charts, happy to take a look at it. There's a lot going on today, but I mean, those are the two main focuses that I have, and then I'm probably going to turn my mic off after I speak about ETH BTC and just do some charting, turn some music on, and kind of go from there. So I don't see anything in chat. All right. So to kind of wrap up with Bitcoin, this is the kind of the mini range that is formed. And if you, so for those of you who are who have been following range trading and kind of how I like to do it, so your value area high is essentially the top of this channel. You break above that, pretty good chance that you're going to continue. Your range point of control, which is really important support right here. You can see that it's been tested several times. This is it's an important level for this range. I think if you lose it, then kind of your next step is to, you'd probably look to your value area low here, which is around 43,650. But really, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we just did this for a while. So you can see, like, I would not be surprised if we took a bit of time here to consolidate for a bit before Bitcoin makes its next move. So I'm going to go to ETH BTC. Let me put this up a bit. So here's ETH BTC and why I'm not panicking. So I was really hoping that we would get this move down, and you can see kind of the top of this yellow box right here. So this is the 12-hour time frame. So first of all, my chart's kind of messy. Let me actually turn this off. That way it clutters it a little bit. But you can see, like, ever since we kind of bottomed out here, you got your low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, another higher high. And you can see right here, like, we could just be coming down to make another higher low. Now that's obviously not confirmed yet, but there is nothing that's really bearish about this. And I know people are really worried about the ETH BTC pairing. And, to be honest, like, Bitcoin had a really nice move up, and if it takes another big leg up, yeah, this could definitely hurt this chart. But for now, there's nothing bearish about this. Like, I don't see any reason to panic or anything like that. But we are at support. This is a pretty important support level for me. So you can see, like, this is a weekly SR level. So this box, the yellow, you know how I like my boxes. So this basically starts at the golden pocket. So it's 618 all the way down to your 786 Fibonacci retracement. You have your weekly level here. And you also have a pivot. You have your R1 yearly pivot. Like, this is a really, really big support level, in my opinion. So it's held up pretty nicely. If this is lost, it's not the end of the world to me, but it would be, I think if Bitcoin takes another leg up out of the range that we're in right now, the little mini range that we formed, if we do take another leg up from there, it could hurt this a little bit. You might see alts get, what happened there? Anyway, you might see alts take a little bit of a beating. But right now we're sitting on support. If we lose this is pretty big. This is a pretty big level. So the weekly and the monthly that's sitting right below here, I would say that's pretty important. And you would also be taking out this low here. So if we lose this support, I would be a little, I wouldn't say concerned, but I'd say, okay, like, this is definitely something to pay attention to. In fact, if you go down to a lower time frame, so, like, I really like, as far as time frames go, I really like daily time frames. 12 hours nice, and then my 4 hour is kind of my second one. So if I went to my 4 hour, you can see that doesn't look as good, but we're still sitting above support at the moment. So let's look at this. Okay, well, that, I wouldn't say that changes my mind yet, but you can see on the 4 hour here, we're kind of nearing, again, you have Kumo, so you have the cloud support right below you, but we are potentially getting a bearish TK cross. So price has closed inside cloud. You could be potentially having a bearish TK cross. Cloud is still bullish, so you have that. But your purple line here, your Chiku span is below price. So you can see price is up here. Your purple line, your Chiku span is below price. So this is starting to kind of look, it's starting to look a little, I won't say bad, but on the 4 hour, it's looking a little rough. So you're still at support, not the end of the world. But if we do lose this weekly, then this is your next two levels that you'd be eyeing, which is also your last low. So this is a really important level. If you lose that, you know, you start to look down at these, you know, you start to look further below. Wouldn't look very good, obviously. But on the high time frames, this is also something to consider. So again, we haven't really, like, we haven't lost market structure here. It still looks good to me. If you zoom out, by the way, this is a really big level up here. I haven't talked about it because we're pretty far away, but this is a massive level. So like if we do, if ETH BTC continues to go up, you can see I have two levels that are marked off. So this key level is basically just an SR, you know, it's an SR flip from back here. So you came down, bounced, got a nice bounce, came back down, you bounced at the exact same level again. You got a little bit of a bounce and then you blew right through it. So this level is definitely one to watch, sitting around 0.054-ish. I anticipate, like, you know, if the ETH BTC pair does get up there, I think that could be initial resistance. But this level up here is going to be really big. I'll discuss that later, but that's a really important one to watch. But if you look back, there we go. Let me just delete this, try to clear this up. But if you look back historically, kind of where we're at right now, so we're retesting this weekly level. And if you look back at this weekly level, this has kind of been where, you know, where this pair has topped out. You get a rejection, come up, reject off that level again, come up here, poke above for a little bit, reject again. So this is a really important level. But the point of that is, like, it's not like coming back down after you've broken it kind of decisively, I would say. It's not the end of the world. Like, to me, again, this is another piece that says, hey, like, things aren't so bad. But if you do lose it, then it kind of makes you question things a little bit. But I think this, again, this still looks really good. No reason to panic yet. And you really could continue much higher than this. And you can see there's not a lot going on after you break this level. So like if we can continue higher here, there's not much in the way. That's, you know, you have your R2 yearly pivot here. You have this previous SR level that you would need to clear, but there's not really a whole lot between you and, you know, like between this level and a lot of upside. It could very easily fly. So that's kind of, does anybody have any questions about that? ETH BTC pair, not the end of the world. I think honestly, I think it looks good. But if you lose the level that I was talking about, so if you lose this weekly here, that would start to not look that great. And then if you came back down and retested this weekly and this monthly level, you know, not the end of the world still, but it would start to look kind of bad. Obviously, if you lost this, it would be really bad. It would be really, really bad. But anybody, any questions or anything like that? If you don't, then I'm gonna probably wrap it up here. Just wanted to go live, talk about this for a little bit, see if you guys have any questions. Let me go over here. No. Any questions? By the way, what I can see is the YouTube chat, so that's where I can see all of the comments there just fine. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. So if there's any, is there anything else I can look at, or I'm probably just gonna turn some music on and chart for a little bit. So I am just going to, I think at this point I'm going to mute my mic and turn some music on and just do some live charting. So I'm going to chart things. I'm going to try to chart some stuff that I haven't looked at in a while. But that's kind of like, I was going across CTK. So geez, I'll go over this real quick. My goodness, look at that. So here on my Twitter, I was posting about CTK. So on the 4th, CTK was at $1.09, and it's the same thing. So like here, you obviously bullishly crossed, but price closed within cloud here. And when you see this setup, so when you have price close inside of cloud and your Chiku span is above price, a lot of times like you're looking for the opposite edge of the cloud. So I said, hey, like this looks pretty good for a move up. The monthly is a really important level. Once you clear that, like really, that's why I marked out this key level here. Once you break this monthly, I think there was a pretty high probability of you actually coming up all the way to the key level, especially with how things are going. And then this was kind of the, well, I don't think I did post it. So this is like my second update. So you can see you got your entry right here and the move to the edge of the cloud. So that's done and over with. That's usually like a nice take profit area too, but price continued higher. And now you can see like what a move. So we were looking at this on the 4-hour time frame. So there's your setup. You can see here that price grinded out the Kumo really good. Like this was really good resistance, and then you broke through, closed inside of cloud right here. So when you have your edge to edge type setup, you're looking for the opposite end of the cloud, which was here at about 119-ish. You got that pretty easily. And then you got your bullish Kumo breakout. Cloud is bullish now. So this is really nice. Like this was a really nice spot, I'd have to say. But so your long entry was here at about $1.06, and you're sitting at, it's at 168. So that's pretty good. So right now you're sitting at 59, almost 60% profit in 4 days. Not bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn some music on, look at a few charts. If anybody has anything that they want me to go over, happy to do it. So just go, if you could put it in YouTube chat, though, I'd appreciate it, though, because that's where I can see it really easily. But I'm going to turn my mic off now. All right, I'm actually gonna talk about this one real quick because actually I've been talking about BAT for a little while. Let me music down just a little bit more. But so this is your edge-to-edge setup, and I think now that you got kind of a bit of retrace thanks to Bitcoin moving up, like the risk reward here is actually pretty good. So it's not financial advice, obviously. You're just showing potential setup. This is how it works. So once you get your bullish cross, price closes inside of cloud. You can see here your Chiku span is above price. So when you have those factors, those are kind of the three elements that you need for this setup. And you look for your target would be the opposite end of the cloud, which in this case is up here. So this is like a flat. If I move this for a second, you can see that the flat part of the Kumo here, these are a lot of times these act as magnets for price. So you probably heard me say that quite a bit. But this is the part of the cloud that I would look to target first. So this is how I get this target. So if you entered here, hypothetically, your stop loss would be below cloud. The only thing that I don't really like is right here is you can see that your Kijun is angled, it's kind of angled down still. So without me going back and doing a bunch of, well, I guess I can, I don't know if I want to do that. You can actually kind of calculate like where you expect. So this is what this part of the indicator is that actually tells you like where Kijun or Tenkan, you see these dots, it kind of shows you the path that it expects to take. And at the end here, there's a little bit of down. So for me, the invalidation would be loss of cloud. So you can see that's about 9% away, but you're looking at potentially a 50% move, which I think, you know, I mean, that's pretty good. But this is your edge-to-edge trade. Oh, hey. Hold on one second. But yeah, if you're not subscribed, by the way, if you don't mind subscribing, I'm going to be doing quite a few of these videos going forward. So I think this is literally what I spend quite a bit of my day doing these. And if you're interested in learning technical analysis or learning a little bit, follow along. But so again, this is your edge-to-edge setup that you have here. And you know, honestly, it looks pretty good. The risk reward looks good. This weekly level though, that would probably be, I would probably take some off there if it was me, if I was taking this trade, just because it is such an important level. But if you were to reclaim this, if you look at what's happened, if you look at what's happened to BAT, so you came up here and you made this high, right? And it has been nothing but down since September. It was August actually. It has literally been nothing but down. And there has been basically not a lot of support, or I'm sorry, not a lot of, I mean, yeah, it's like fell straight down. So it didn't build up much support at all on the way down, which means a lot of times when you get these moves, you can get pretty explosive moves up out of here too. And you can see just from your macro value area low, you are very far away. So you're almost, I mean, that would be over 100% gain if you got, if you just got back to your macro value area low. So what this reminds me of, for those of you that have followed me, this reminds me a lot of Acro. So like this is kind of like where I got into Acro down here. Actually, I didn't wait for this type of setup, but this chart reminds me a lot of Acro, quite a bit. And with kind of basic attention tokens, so you know it's on Grayscale's list, I think like there's potential for this trade to move, and when it does, I think it's gonna move significantly. Like I think it's gonna move, like I wouldn't be surprised at all if we could get back up to at least like the point control or something like that. But for me, I'm a level by level trader. I don't try not to look ahead anything crazy like that. But I think this BAT has a lot of potential, and I've been tweeting about it, I've been posting about it. So it has my attention for sure. But right here on, you know, at least the daily, this is a valid edge-to-edge trade setup if you're using Ichimoku, and that's essentially the trade setup that you would look for. Now if price happens, so I'm going to delete this, but if price happens to, you know, let me just delete all this. Don't need that anymore. So if price, let's just say that it worked its way up and kind of broke out a cloud, retested. Like if you get your bullish breakout and it holds, this is kind of the next level trade that I would look for to take this even higher. And again, I would probably like the monthly is a really, really big level. Any monthlies that you see, like they're really important levels, but to me, I look around this macro value area low, and again, this chart just, when I look at it, I think Acro, BTC, which I'll go to Acro real quick so you can see it. It's on my other chart. Now, Acro obviously took a little bit of a hit because of Bitcoin, but you can see like it's a lot of the same, you know, you get this move up, huge move down, just straight down pretty much. And I mean, this is kind of where BAT is right now, you know, and I'm not saying it's going to do this insane spike or anything, but it just reminds me, a lot of that chart. So BAT is on my radar for sure. And as far as the risk reward for this particular trade, it's 5 to 1. It's actually over 5 to 1. Looks pretty decent. So that's BAT. I mean, that's essentially what I just charted out. And you have, you know, I think it's a decent risk reward. Obviously, so like if you lose, you know, if you were to, hypothetically, if you took that trade and you got stopped out, I think moving back down to monthly is probably likely at that point. Like if Bitcoin just rips and rips and, you know, alts in general, like basic attention token doesn't catch up, you very easily could see this monthly again. And loss of that, and you're looking at all-time lows, and who knows? I mean, like you look at what's happened. This is really, really pretty. I mean, this is ugly. So if it doesn't bounce here, right here and now, I would be pretty concerned. So I'm gonna go and take a peek at SNX. Okay. So these are your SNX BTC levels. So I mean, if you go to your SNX USDT chart, I mean, my goodness, like obviously it's up. I don't think there's a whole lot to see here. Like this is a phenomenal chart, right? So like, I mean, sure, I can put, if you want to put Ichimoku on, you get your nice trending indicator. Actually, it's okay. But here, if you're looking at this from an Ichimoku standpoint, I'll just walk you through this. It's very simple. You've literally had, I mean, you've had a few different potential trades, but here's your bullish cross. Price isn't, like you can see, this is such a new asset that it doesn't even have, like the cloud isn't fully developed yet, but you can tell like this is bullish. So you get your bullish cross here, price dips below it, and you can see the clouds start to form here. So you still, as far as your Tenkin and your Kijun are concerned, this is still bullish positioning. You actually get your retest of the Kijun here, which could be a buy, depending on how you look at it. And your stop loss for something like this would be below your cloud. You would not want to see price come below cloud at this point. But once price broke out of your cloud here, your Tenkin and your Kijun are bullishly crossed at this time. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that your Chikou span, which is this purple line here, was above price. And look at this move that you got. And you haven't once come back down to test your Kijun yet since here. Which it doesn't, I mean, not to say that it doesn't count, but essentially, like once you get your bullish breakout, you have not come back to Kijun yet, which Kijun is equilibrium. So that's where, when price is at your Kijun, that's telling you that it's basically even. Like it's in perfect equilibrium. That's kind of where it should be. And there's, you know, depending on if the overall chart is bullish or bearish, like that usually gives you a really good trade. But in this case, using the tether pairing, you haven't even touched it once yet. So but if you look at your Tenkin here, which is your blue line, you can see that as you broke out here, you've got several tests. So you've got this test, you got this test right here, you got a couple tests right here. This is a test. It almost came down to Kijun, but not quite. There's a test right here, and just yesterday, you got a perfect test down to your Tenkin here. If you had bought that, and I posted this in Discord, by the way. If you're not in Discord, I can actually, I'll put it in here. I'll put it in here just in case anybody who happens to be in here isn't in Discord yet. You're more than welcome to come. It's actually a lot of fun. It's a good place. So there's your Discord link, invite. But actually posted in here, you know, if you had bought Tenkin, how would you be doing? And the answer is phenomenally. Like you would have done very, very, very well buying this all the way up. So even yesterday, if you had bought this retest, which I was really greedy. I don't say greedy, but I was a little too conservative. And my bid was exactly the Tenkin, and I literally missed it by, I don't know how many pennies. It was like by a few cents my bid didn't fill, so I had to chase it once I saw it moving away. But I did add some there, because if you look at this chart again, this is insanely bullish. This is trending very hard. Like there's nothing bearish remotely about this. So this is a really nice chart. So if I want to get a little bit more insight to how SNX is doing, I'd want to look at the Bitcoin chart, to be honest, because the Bitcoin, so like SNX is at all-time high, right? Or like it's close to all-time high. Bitcoin here, like this is going to give you some insight to how it's doing versus Bitcoin, obviously. And like that's very important right now, considering what Bitcoin is doing. So you want to be aware of what, you know, other alts are doing versus it, because that'll give you an insight to which one you should really be trading. Because if Bitcoin is outpacing everything, or if it gets back into that phase where Bitcoin starts to alt pace alts really bad, and you see alts take a dip and all that. Like, which one would you rather be in? Like, to me, it's Bitcoin, right? And you'll see, like, when these happen, or when these times happen, like, most of my analysis is Bitcoin related, and it's for that reason, because that's what I'm trading every day for the most part. But we've been in a really good period. I'd say it's, you know, it's a mini alt season, and like, alts have absolutely been the play for the last, you know, few weeks or whatever. So, but as far as the Bitcoin pairing goes on SNX, it's still, again, it looks really good. You can see here, the other day, you got a really nice test of this upper monthly. This is it as far as the chart goes. So I'm gonna actually turn, I mean, so Ichimoku bullish. Again, you got your entry. You probably had a few entries, but it kind of, yeah, I don't know. That wasn't a very good, like, that would have stopped you out more than likely. But eventually you get your move to the opposite end of the cloud. Bullish breakout, got your retest, another push higher, touch your monthly, and we obviously, like today, where, you know, Bitcoin had a really nice move. You're seeing some alts, you know, alts versus Bitcoin pulling back. I'm gonna turn Ichimoku off just because it's kind of making the chart a little bit messy. But this monthly was all the way back over here. So this is where your monthly, I guess it's wherever I started it. But you can see price moved up, perfectly touched it, and you got a really pretty decent rejection off of that. I mean, that was a 35, almost 36% move down in just a couple of days. So you can see, like, these levels that are on my chart, they're really respected. You know, like like these levels really influence my trading significantly. And if you've known me long enough, you'll know that, like, the levels that's how a majority of my trading is. And it's for, and, you know, again, this was a really perfect back test so far. So, and this daily level here, so that was kind of your wick low for today. So your daily support resistance off of this zone right here, really nice back test, and you got a really nice move off of it. So as far as SNX goes, the USDT pairing, it's bullish. It's like, it's phenomenal. Like, I own a lot of SNX, and I continue to add. But as far as SNX versus Bitcoin, it's a little harder, because so you got your test. This monthly is basically the only level that really matters. If you want to see SNX really rip, it needs to clear this monthly SR level, and you can look for higher. But right now you can see that we're sitting below this monthly, and I mean, you got your big wick down today. I think this is literally when, you know, Bitcoin decided to take off. And so, kind of like the way that I see it, it still looks really good. Like, there's not a whole lot, you know, I mean, obviously today we're gonna have to keep tabs and see what Bitcoin has in store for us, because it really is. And I know that I think it was Dave, Crypto Dave, that mentioned this in the Discord chat, but Bitcoin really is gonna decide. Like, Bitcoin is the king of the market. And, you know, I made a kind of a joke yesterday, or it was the other day, like, we were, you know, alts were looking phenomenal, everything was pushing, and it was like one of those times where, like, it's hard to not, like, get really greedy and, like, just want to keep buying and buying and buying and buying, because everything just continually goes up. But I had posted in Discord, like, be careful, you know, and, like, I don't know if I can go back and bother finding it, but I was like, be careful. Like, this is when when I see the market getting to this point, like, we get reminded, you know. And I think it was like a day later, but Bitcoin kind of, like, had a move, and it really affected alts, you know. And it was just a little reminder, and I had posted it on Twitter. I think I posted it. Yeah, halftime show was terrible, by the way. If you watched the Super Bowl, I thought it was terrible. But, like, here, so it was on February 5th. I said, just Bitcoin giving alts a little reminder who the boss is, nothing to worry about, which is really not a big deal. But this post was because of something that I went on, you know, I went on a little one of my little rant in Discord talking about like this is kind of when it's time to be careful, because everybody is super bullish on everything. And you know, a lot of times when the market gets overly bullish or overly bearish, you'll see the opposite come into play, and it was really good timing. So anyway, as far as SNX goes, USDT pair phenomenally bullish, amazing, like looks amazing, and will likely run with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues to moon, the USDT pair is likely going to continue to moon. Like, I don't see any issue with that. But as far as the Bitcoin pairing, which what this tells you is like which one, like in theory, like which one should you be trading, right? It's hard to say. Like, Bitcoin got its move, slapped it down a little bit, and you know, we're currently sitting below this monthly. We're still above value area high though, and this is a really important level. I do not want to see us start to close, you know, daily below macro value area high, because that would be like an initial warning signal saying, hey, like there's potential that this versus Bitcoin could move down quite a bit. So like if that's the case, right, and SNX BTC was to turn bearish, then like the play for that would be to move into Bitcoin and take advantage of the Bitcoin move. So, you know, obviously like SNX, it depends on what your, you know, if you're looking at it from a purely trading standpoint and all you care about is like, you know, like how you should play the chart, then that would be the play in that scenario. But if you don't care, you know, and you bought the USD chart and you're gonna hold for a long time or whatnot like this, then that doesn't matter too much. So that's not, you know, kind of depends like what's important to you. But for SNX, again, this is the massive level. If the Bitcoin pairing can clear this monthly at around 6,300 sats, it's game over. Like, I think you're gonna see another, I mean, not only will it be probably approaching the all-time high, but I think you're gonna see a very large move out of that. So any other alts that I can take a look at? And if there's a specific time frame too, so like, I mean, you know, when I do these streams, I typically like to focus on higher time frame stuff. But if you want me to take a look at something, you know, on the hourly or 5-minute chart, I'm happy to do so. So just, if you could put it in the chat here, let me know. But yeah, so that's basically all I have to say about SNX, unless somebody has another question, but looks very good. So hold on. Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome, man. Anytime. And like, I'm usually in front of my computer most of the day. So if you have a question for me, or like if you want me to take a look at a specific chart and really like get into it, just send me a message. And if I have time to go live, or if I have time to do a stream, I'm totally happy to do so. Because what you're watching me do, at least before I was talking, but what, you know, when I muted my mic and like I'm just charting, that's literally what I spend my day doing. And like you can see, like, so this is, I have different lists, right? So my red list are things that I am in and watching, or like actively, like I have alerts set to like get ready to get into a trade. So this is like my red list is like what I am actively focusing on right now. Then I have this list, which is huge, and these are just all different alts that I have alerts set for. So I have my Ichimoku indicator that I designed, and I have particular alerts set up so that when certain criteria are met, I get an alert on my phone, and that tells me to, hey, go look at this chart and see what's going on. But all day long, a lot of times, like I am just poking in and out of charts, looking around. Like this is another chart, Alpha, that is like, I mean, talk about a move. Like this is an incredible move. I can actually delete all this stuff. But yeah, if there's any other alts that you want me to take a look, I'm happy to take a look at before I get off here. I might do one more. I want to check on Aave. Wow. Yeah, this is another one. You can see like I was doing I was doing quite a bit of analysis down here before the move out, and then just like talk about a move. That is incredible. I mean, all the way up to 544 on Binance. I know on Coinbase it got even higher than that, but you can see got a nice dip down. If I was to look at this from, I mean, you can see like it's so new that you can't even populate a daily chart properly. So 12-hour looks, I mean, this is just super bullish. My goodness. So let me delete all this. I don't know if I want to delete this. Yeah, I'll delete it. So just from this standpoint, again, like phenomenal run up. You got your entry. You got your bullish cross right here actually at $85. So this is on the 12-hour chart, and this is the same same signal that I was talking about on Bitcoin. I actually made a video a couple days ago and talked about like the bullish TK cross above cloud. Like this happened at $83 and you got this move up. Depending like how conservative you were playing, you possibly could have got stopped out here. Like if you had your stop right below Kijun, I don't know if I would have probably done it that way, but you possibly could have got stopped out here. But if you had seen price action immediately following, you would have hopefully got back in. And you can see like you have not, with the exception of this back in January 11th, you have not retested your 12-hour Kijun yet. But and like the Tenkan, so again, if you had been buying the Tenkan, you'd be doing incredibly well, because I mean, you look at the move up, it's been, so just from this entry right here at the high, you're up 530 something percent. Currently, if you're still in that trade, you're up 465%, which I mean, I did not take Aave on that particular entry right there. I've been in Aave for a long time now. I haven't sold a single one. That's me. That's just how I'm playing it, but I haven't sold a single one yet. And then I won't get into it here, but I've kind of, let's just say I was on Aave pretty like in 2018, and I'm really disappointed in myself that I had sold that. Because I had a pretty big bag of Aave back then. Well, it was Lend ETH back then, but the project wasn't going anywhere. I mean, I didn't think it was going to do anything, so I sold, and then you had a really big run up happened, and I missed a pretty fair part of that, which I was not too happy. But even on this time frame, you got, you know, this is a Tenkan test at 406. You'd be at 485. Like even if you had even if you had your bid set here, you would be doing really well. I mean, that's even just in a, what is that, day and a half or so. So the thing that I don't want to say it worries me, doesn't worry me. And you can actually see Tenkan here is angling upward again, which is a good sign. And what that's like to me, I see that, and that's going to help me be able to trade Aave even a little bit easier at these levels. But your Kijun here is flattening out, and when your Kijun flattens out, that kind of signals like a loss of bullish momentum. So it looks like it's going to start angling up again, and obviously like with this price action, I wouldn't be surprised. But in the short term, this tells me that like we're at an area of like, it's an area to be cautious of, because momentum has kind of slowed for the time being. But you can see here we flattened out and we started angling up again, which the angle of your Tenkan, which is this blue line, and the angle of your Kijun, very important to watch. So like back here, once you started angling up, this tells you that like the bullish trend is resuming, and it's, you let it go. Like if you're in your entry already, you don't touch it, because this tells you that like price is heading higher. So as far as it goes now, I mean, you could go down on a lower time frame and see what it looks like, maybe a 4 hour. So like here, even a 4 hour. So like, and this is beautiful. Like, so this is exactly what you want to see. Like when you have your Tenkan and your Kijun, you want to see the two trending and really close together, because this is a really good trend. And you can see the same thing happening here, right? So they're trending up together, and then you get the divergence. So when they start splitting apart and getting really far away from each other, that tells you, like, it starts to warn you, hey, like, momentum is slowing, and you look for your mean reversion, which this is what happened. So anytime you get price moving back to Kijun like this, that's your mean reversion play, which if you had bought this, nice job, because it's still bullish. You can see like things are still bullish. Your cloud's bullish, your Tenken's still above your Kijun, so like this is a buy, really. But when you get these big divergences here, and you know, measuring kind of the distance, like again, you have it really close here, and then they start to spread apart from each other, that tells you, hey, like, be careful of a mean reversion. And that's what you got before another move up. So you can see they were really close to each other in this area, and then what happened here, they get really far apart, and you can see the momentum was slower. It was still up, but it was slower. And then once they start to get closer to each other, you get your move higher. So here they're really far apart from each other. You got your mean reversion already and a really nice bounce. So now you're kind of waiting and seeing like what could happen in this area that I wouldn't be super surprised about, is if we maybe started forming a range. So this is kind of something that I would watch out for if you're in Aave. So you got your high, your low, and your high. And if I was to pull, so I would probably start there. So, wow. So right now you're literally sitting on the point of control right here. So this is a big support level. This is a very big support level. You're literally sitting on it right now. If you lose this, so if Aave loses this support right here, you will look down to about 462. So that's where your value area low of this little mini range that we're in right now is, which happens to be right where the Tenken is right now. And you can see like it's provided support, right? So you have support, your test down, support. You could get another test down to 462, which like that could maybe, I mean, for me, I don't know if I would buy that myself, but if you're day trading Aave or something, like that could maybe provide you with a nice entry. But it's also the middle of this range, which I don't like to take trades off the middle of it. I prefer to trade at extremes just because the risk reward to me is a lot better. But if you were to lose this point of support, the next level is around value area low and this blue line, which is your Tenken here. If you lose that, you're very likely going to come back down to 420 area. So, and right around where your Kijun is again. So that's kind of what I would be looking for. And if you manage to hold here, and if you can break, you know, if you got to close above 530 or something like that, very possible that Aave continues. And it wouldn't surprise me, because look at this trend. I mean, this is an incredible trend. Like, I don't even, that's a phenomenal trend. So like, would I bet against this right now? Probably not, if it were me. I mean, you look to let the trend be your friend until it's not anymore, until it shows you that it's ready to switch around. Like, so for instance, on this 4 hour chart, if price were to come back down to the low side of this range and even break it, what I would be looking for is for price to enter this cloud. So if you see price close inside of the Kumo or the cloud, then you watch and see where your Tenken and your Kijun are. Are they bearishly crossed? Like, I would have to see this in real time, but you would want to see, like, this would be the first initial sign to me that Aave might have topped. You know, even put in just a short-term top or medium-term top, is if you see it price close inside of this cloud, and then you see where your Tenken and your Kijun are. But if you get price closing inside of the cloud and your Tenken bearishly crosses your Kijun, that's bad news. So that tells you that, at least on the 4 hour time frame, that, you know, your trend is switched and it actually switched bearish. So has that happened yet? Hell no, not even close. So it's not something to worry about, but I just wanted to walk you through like what I would be looking for as far as like to kind of switch my stance on Aave, whether it's bullish or bearish, medium term. And if this were to happen on like a daily, so I'm gonna go to 12-hour because the daily doesn't populate right. But I mean, you can see like the cloud is at 365. Like we are so far away. Like this is how incredible this run has been. But what you can see that stands out very clearly to me is you see how close Tenkan and Kijun were this entire run up. I mean, you get a little deviated here, but like still, it's pretty close to each other. But now look at this huge gap. So what I would want to see to make me feel good about Aave continuing its bullish trend is if you see Kijun, which it's forecasted to start to move up, which is good. Like that's essentially, I want to see this closed. So I do not like to see big spaces in between like this, because that's a little concerning. So that's pretty much it. I think I went through. Anybody have any other questions or any alts that they want to take a look at? Luna, yeah, oh my goodness, Luna. You can look at that real fast. I was talking about this yesterday. Yeah, I'll just put it up here just so you can see what she's talking about. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is one, I don't know, was it on the daily? Yeah. So this is one that I talked about, like I had said it looks like a ladder, and it reminds me of a ladder. Like you have really short, so it's like you get this impulse up, you get like a tiny consolidation, you get another ladder, or you get another step up, very short consolidation, 3 days, another impulse up, 1 day of going sideways, another impulse, 2 days of going sideways. I mean, this is insane. And then you get this massive move today. Like, this is a very powerful chart. And like, so from an Ichimoku standpoint, where was your entry? Like if you're looking at this on the daily, right? Like when you bullishly crossed, your entry was actually, I can't even look at it. Okay, so it's below here. Let me try to, there we go, that's easier. So your entry was right around here. So it depends like how you would have played this. So like technically like this is, yeah. I mean, you might, if you were like, I wouldn't have done it on this time frame just because nothing's developed yet. But really, like when you got your bullish TK cross here, I mean, this is at 37.40 cents or whatever. You got your bullish cross here, and you're obviously still long. Like this is like, and kind of the funny thing is, like I would not have entered. Like I had posted in this, I said like I can't enter with like good conscience. I can't enter here because like the trend is obviously incredibly strong, but I would need to see some kind of a retest. And I don't remember what chart I was looking at, but I was looking at it and like I just did not see, like it would have to drop, you know, I think it was like 20% or something for me to like want to take an entry, because like otherwise if you're buying up here, I mean, I would say that's FOMO, but it doesn't matter if you're right. I mean, that was an incredible move. So congratulations, anybody in Luna, nice work. Like you're up, I mean, you're up 85%. Even versus Bitcoin, you're up 60%. I mean, you're killing it. So good job there. But if there's no other, thank you. So if there's any other alts you want me to take a look at, or I'm gonna wrap it up here. Give it just a minute. Oh damn, what's Bitcoin doing? Oh, let me take a real quick look at Bitcoin. Oh, you're getting your move up. Yep. Wow. So just to touch on this, because this is how I started my stream, right? So I guess wrapping it up at Bitcoin would be appropriate. But even on the 5-minute, if you're playing Ichimoku. So this is the same thing that I talked about on the 12-hour chart, which got, you know, if you had taken that entry very, like you're doing very well right now. Even on the 5-minute, you got your bullish TK cross above cloud. And look, like even if you had entered right here, if you're in a scalp, you're up you're up $1,000 from here. Like even just a quick scalp. So if you had taken, like, this was your entry when you got your bullish TK cross above cloud, and you're up about $1,000. So you can even play these, like you can even play these setups on, on any time frame. It's just a matter like of a 5-minute chart. You have to understand what move you're expecting though. Like, would I take this entry off of a 5-minute time frame and expect to, like, you know, move up thousands of dollars? No, absolutely not. It's a 5-minute time frame. But like in this case, you got $1,000 move out of it. So very nice. But anyway, I'm done. Unless anybody has any charts they want me to look at, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Hit me up in the Discord if you want me to check out anything, or just come hang out with us. A lot of really cool people in there, small group of people, but you know, we've known each other for a while now. We have a lot of fun there. So anyway, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one.